Ladies and gentlemen, the bitter Samajwadi Party family saga has resulted in an ugly split between the father and son. After months of public spat, Mulayam finally pulling the trigger, expelling Akhilesh Yadav and Ram Gopal Yadav from the party for grave indiscipline, throwing the Samajwadis into complete chaos, with Akhilesh yet to respond to the crisis. We are joined by senior Supreme Court lawyer and constitutional expert Harish Salve, who's also been the former Solicitor General. He'll tell us what the situation in India's largest state is going to be. What's the governor's options? Good evening, Mr. Harish Salve. Thank you for joining us here on the NEWSHOUR. Mr. Harish Salve, it's a tricky situation. It's an unprecedented situation in the largest state in India, Uttar Pradesh. The chief minister is without a party. He's just been expelled from his own party. At this moment, is his position as a chief minister tenable constitutionally?
Navika, the rubric in which our system works is on the premise that the chief minister enjoys the confidence of the House. Now, when he is expelled from a political party, there are two possibilities. One is that he has lost the majority and he has lost the confidence of his own party, therefore lost the majority in the House. Or he may assert that, well, he may have been expelled from the party, but he continues to enjoy the support of the majority of the legislators. Now, I don't think he has made his position clear. But this doesn't augur well for democracy ever. And I think he has to take a position. And as I see it, there are three possible outcomes. One, of course, he puts in his papers, and considering that the elections are around the bend, he resigns. The adjunct to that, which is the second, is he invites the governor to dissolve the assembly, which is his prerogative till he's chief minister. And if the governor feels that he's right, and possibly he would be right, he dissolves the assembly and paves the way for the elections which are to be held next month under a president's rule. Or the third option is to establish, or rather take a position that he continues to be in the majority, in which case the governor may well ask him to call for a one-day session next week and establish his majority. Because the important thing is, he is still the head of the executive government of UP, and he's taking decisions by the day. Now, he cannot be in that position, allowed to be in that position, unless it is established that his government is constitutionally sanctified.
But what are the governor's options? The fact is that this chief minister right now constitutionally doesn't have a party. So if he calls for MLAs, the MLAs belong to a political party that's called the Samajwadi Party, which is the recognized party. Does the governor ask for a floor test, or does the governor look at the legalese whether Akhilesh is part of the party or not? Maybe by
tomorrow or day after, call Akhilesh. See, that's what I'm saying. Part of a political party is one thing, but our 10th schedule was amended. So expulsion from a party doesn't cause disqualification automatically. What the governor will have to do is request Akhilesh to take one or the other position. If Akhilesh takes the position that he continues to enjoy majority of the support of the legislative party, then he can contend that you call a session, and in that session, if 2/3 of the members present and voting, or if they all sort of migrate with him, I mean 1/3 is the threshold, but if he has more than a majority and he pulls it through and they vote in his favor, then he continues as chief minister. Maybe he has been thrown out of the party, maybe he'll form another party, maybe he and the MLAs who support him will go into another party.
Mr. Salve, good evening.
What is important is you must enjoy the support of the majority of the House.
Right. Mr. Salve, you know, Ram Gopal Yadav, sometime back when he was speaking, he challenged the decision of expulsion itself. Can this be challenged in court? And does that then alter the dynamic altogether?
Yes. Well, the point is, you may challenge the decision to expel him in the very limited area which remains for a court to intervene in the internal workings of a political party. But that doesn't at all impinge on the constitutional crisis. The fact is, the head of the party says you're no longer one of us. It's not a question of whether legally he continues to be within the party. It immediately raises the question, does he continue to enjoy the support of the majority of the House?
But do we have enough time for push for a floor test, Mr. Salve?
I put you back in the party, but this expulsion.
But is there enough time to see all of this?
72 hours. Supreme Court in so many cases has directed.
Yeah, yes, sir.
A floor test can be on Tuesday, on next Friday. What's the problem?
Okay,
see, the point
Mr. Harish Salve, the question is also that in the interim, we are expecting the Election Commission to come out with the dates for the elections of Uttar Pradesh. Right now, the speculation is that these elections could be called on the 3rd or the 4th of January. In such a situation where the Election Commission comes in, queers the pitch by announcing elections, does the governor still have the opportunity to give time to Akhilesh Yadav to prove his majority on the floor of the House?
The point is, Navika, I assume what you're saying is the Election Commission will announce the poll dates on 3rd or 4th January, the schedule. So the Model Code of Conduct will kick in. Even then, the executive government will continue to be in the hands of Akhilesh, and I find it, especially in the federal structure at the level of the state government, I find it completely untenable that this situation continue. We have to have A, president's rule, or B, the party theoretically elects another chief minister, or C, Akhilesh insists that he is the majority and within a week establishes his majority.
No, but that's the question. You're talking of a week. You're talking of a week. We are saying if in the interim the Election Commission announces dates for election, what happens then?
Even the election dates will be announced. The elections can't be less than a month away, month plus away.
Okay.
It's India's most populous state, beset with problems. Who's going to be running the state?
Okay, Mr. Harish Salve, the other question is, floor test is the only way, and several times the Supreme Court has said this, as recently as in the Uttarakhand verdict recently. It says in all cases where the support of the government is claimed to have been withdrawn by some legislators, the proper course for testing the strength of the government is holding a test on the floor of the House. So is that the only option with the governor? Because we understand the governor is sending a report to the centre. Can the centre take a call for president's rule before that? Because that's something the Congress has already begun, talking about, and said that the BJP should not use the back door to bring in president's rule. What are the options in terms of the government's possibility at the centre to take a decision on president's rule? Will they have to give it 1 week's time, or can they take a decision before that?
Now, here your question which you asked me a minute ago becomes critical. If the Election Commission on 3rd of January or 4th of January issues the notification putting in motion the election system and the Model Code of Conduct kicks in, and this kind of uncertainty hangs on the head of Akhilesh, and I don't want to get into the politics of the situation, but this will tend to spill onto the streets if this situation continues. I think that it may be a sensible course of action for everybody to agree that let there be president's rule for the next 4 or 5 weeks till the election is held.
So Mr. Salve,
one can't compare this with the Uttarakhand situation, where a handful of people say we have withdrawn support.
Right, but Mr. Salve, in the Bombay judgment also they said that an exceptional reason for not ordering a floor test would be a situation of all-pervasive violence, where a free vote would not be possible. In the absence of such a situation, where do we stand? That's the current scenario. But you also said that the situation could snowball. So as a precautionary measure, president's rule could be called for. According to you, over the course of the next 7 to 10 days.
Not just precautionary. See, also considering the political volatility of the situation, and as Navika suggested, if the Election Commission were to come up with a notification in the next 5 days, is it not then almost a waste of resources to call for a session just to have him continue for the next 4 weeks. I mean, it just might be more sensible then for him to put in his papers or for him to be removed and to have a central rule just to make sure elections will now be surcharged with two parts of the same party competing face to face with each other. It just might be better if the central government is in power when the elections are held.
Well, the legal and logical conclusion derived makes a lot of sense, Mr. Salve, but if you add the political dynamic to it, then imposition of President's rule could perhaps further queer the pitch. So we'll have to see how it unfolds. But Mr. Salve, thank you very much for joining us on Top of the News Hour this evening. Thank you for talking to us.